And welcome back. The pandemic lockdown is prompting some businesses to rethink their workplace model. Should employees keep working from home, and should they redesign workspace at the office?
John K. Scott is the Managing Director of Real Estate Management Services, Florida at Colliers International. He is also a member of Mayor Jimenez's task force for commercial properties re-entry for COVID-19 protocols and a member of the Building Owners and Managers International Building Reentry Task Force for COVID-19 protocols.
You got a lot of titles there, John, but very important questions that you have to deal with right now. Obviously, businesses are going into uncharted water here. So when businesses do reopen, how should commercial buildings and office space be retrofitted, or should they be?
Well, I appreciate you and Francis having me on, Jim. And I want to talk about what that new blueprint looks like. Preparation and communication is the key to it. Having the necessary supplies on as we re-enter Monday is the first focus, but we need to look at the multi-tenanted buildings that have multiple companies in it, multiple employees, and how the building ownerships are going to handle the common areas and make it safe, how we're going to look at the tenant spaces where the employer is going to be the one making sure that we have the hand sanitizers, that we have non-contact thermometers, that we have everything taken care of. And it's going to take, the entire group to work together. So communication's the key on that, and making sure that we're staffed appropriately. So we're going to see what was densification in the past of space. We're going to see an undensification of space as we're looking around. And part of that was driven through dollar value as we were trying to make it more denser and we can utilize the space to a greater utility. And now we're going to have to rethink that entire look. We're also going to have to rethink how buildings are entered, meaning we have visitors to buildings, we have deliveries to buildings, we have service contracts to buildings. In large buildings, you may have concierge services or security people who can deal with that. In smaller buildings, the tenants themselves are going to have to get used to going to the lobby and bringing people through, or there may be a new entry feature that has to be put in place for those to come in. Because you can't have people wandering the building, potentially contaminating the building or creating an unsafe environment. So there's a lot of changes that can be looked at in the coming days.
Well, John, some of the common areas in those buildings like restrooms, lobbies, other common areas like kitchens, they could be a breeding ground for the virus. How do you plan on preparing those spots?
Well, the restrooms has been one of the most difficult to deal with. The infectious disease experts that was on our Miami-Dade County task force let us know that when you flush one of the devices in the bathroom, if it's contaminated with the virus, it could be aerosolized, meaning it can be put into the air. In the reentry program that we have now, only one person at a time will be able to go in that restroom. But at this moment, we're looking at how we can prevent those type of aerolizations. But part of the bathroom equipment, you've already seen some of the contactless faucets, contactless dryers. You may see contactless door openers in bathrooms. You may see dispensers that are non-contact. And there's also new technology out there about being able to touch different things and then automatically sanitize the surface. But that's still under study and development at this time. Kitchens in the tenant area is going to be one of the critical areas that's held. Some of the employers I've talked to said we're going to close off the kitchens because they are a breeding ground, and it's hard to control people who go in there and how they clean it. Others are looking at staggering people coming into the kitchen area, then having a cleaning and then another group of people coming in. So there's huge changes to what we've seen in the normal course of business before.
Yeah, John, I was going to ask you about that idea of staggering the times maybe that people arrive to work, and maybe that is one way that could cut down on so much of people running into each other, everybody showing up to work at the same time. I know the Miami Dolphins, one of the things they're thinking about is actually changing the arrival times on tickets for fans who may go to football games this year. Is that kind of thing, would that work, do you think, in an office setting?
So in looking at that environment, we're seeing two distinct paths from employers. They're looking at staggering to potentially 50% on a Monday and 50% on a Tuesday, or an A and B schedule. Others are looking at doing it on a weekly basis. And of course, there'll be some of the different employees that are required to be there all the time. So you're going to have to set up scheduling. But you brought up a great point there. There will be no gathering around the elevators anymore at 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So you're going to have signage directing people. You may have up stairwells and down stairwells, unless in the case of a emergency, because you'll use those to convey people and keep social distancing practices in place.
A lot to think about. John Scott with Colliers International, thank you so much for joining us.
John, thank you.